Hi, this is Jaya. In this video, we shall see the summary of Is Poetry Always Worthy When It's Old? A poem by Kalidasa. Kalidasa meaning servant of Kali, the goddess in Devanagari. Kalidasa was a renowned classical Sanskrit writer. His plays and poetry are primarily based on Hindu Puranas and philosophy, and his famous works are Shakuntala and Meghaduta. There are many stories about him because we really do not know the actual history. And according to one story, he is said to be known for his beauty. And Princess Vidyotama married him for his beauty, and also she comes under the impression that he was a very intelligent person. But Kalidasa was a person without much education. And later on, coming to know this, the princess was ashamed of his ignorance and coarseness. Being a devoted worshipper of Kali, he called upon the goddess for help when he was going to commit suicide in a well. And this he wanted to commit suicide because he was humiliated by his wife to the core. At that time, Kali has said to rewarded him with extraordinary gift of wit. He then is said to become the most brilliant of the 9 gems at the court of King Vikramaditya of Ujjain. The legend also says that he was murdered by a courtesan in Sri Lanka during the reign of Kumaradasa. Kalidasa's poetry is celebrated for its beautiful imagery and use of similes. And this stanza, is poetry always worthy when it's old, is a question which he puts to the readers. In the second line itself, he also asks, is a poetry worthless then because it is new? That is, will you say that a poetry which is written recently is worthless because it has not stood the test of time? And just because a poetry has stood the test of time and has come out for a long time, and because of it being old, will you consider that worthy? And he also says any creative writing, especially poetry, whether it is old one or a new one, it should be very influential. That is a quality required by a poetry. And the worthy of the poem doesn't depend on it whether it is new one or old one. It only depends on the quality and how much it can influence a person. And he says only fools will wait for a critic to tell you whether a poetry is worthy or not, because the reader only has to decide whether that poem is able to influence them. If the poem touches you, then it is worthy. If the poem does not influence you, then you need not worry about it because according to you, it is of no worth. Now let's read the 4 lines. The rhyme scheme is here A, B, B, A. He says, is poetry always worthy when it's old? And is it worthless then because it's new? Reader, decide it yourself if this be truth. Fools suspend judgment, waiting to be told. So he says, don't wait for others to come and tell you whether this poem is worthy to be read or not. You decide, because only fools will wait for others' judgment. A reader will read the work and then decide for themselves. This is what Kalidasa says in this stanza. If you have anything more to add on to what I've said, please write it in the comment box. Like the video, share it with your friends, and if you have not subscribed my channel, please subscribe and support. Thank you.